going to start with the rollout of the album, the announcement of the album on our boyfriend's football podcast. Our boyfriend, who plays for the NFL, who we are now aligning our brand with, who is one of the most racist and problematic industries in our country.
Okay, so this is what happens when you build your fan base around mentally unstable women. I am talking about Swifties, who are the fans of Taylor Swift. There's been an outcry among Swifties in relation to her recent album, specifically the song Wishlist. I'm going to read you the lyrics that are generating controversy among Swifties. They're calling it trad wife propaganda. The lyrics are, "I just want you. Have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us them alone, and they do. Wow, got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list." So, clearly the Shakespeare of our time, but this pretty, milquetoast sentiment has Swifties upset because they're saying that she's feeding into the conservative agenda by wanting children and by wanting her children to look like her. And unfortunately, I think they actually might have a point, which is that sentiment is right-wing coded, which is just kind of hilarious that it's like, being a normal person with normal female desires makes you automatically a right-winger because the left is just so divorced from basically being a normal human, being a normal female. So let's look at some of these TikTok videos.
Taylor Swift is handing the conservative agenda on a silver platter to the masses. And before I go any further and before you argue with me, you cannot convince me that the master lyricist of our generation, akin to Shakespeare, the Easter egg master of our generation, is not aware of what her entire optics and lyrics and album and everything is giving at this very moment. And before you suggest that this was supposed to be a satirical album, I would like to remind you how she feels about this album in her own words.
World to me to have this creative experience where we knew that we had to bring the best ideas we've ever had.
Yeah.
And I also know the pressure I'm putting on this record by saying that, but I don't care because I love it that much. And there's not other ones coming. This is the record I've been wanting to make for a very long time.
I'll try to rapid fire this as fast as I can so that my video is not an hour long, but we're going to start with the rollout of the album, the announcement of the album on our boyfriend's football podcast. Our boyfriend, who plays for the NFL, who we are now aligning our brand with, who is one of the most racist and problematic industries in our country. Yes. Listen, I don't know how long Taylor Swift's been...
Okay, so this is the general tenor of objection. Let's run through a few more really quickly so you get a sense of how hysterical these people are. Okay, so I can't actually play some of these because I think the Swift copyright team would strike us down, but this one, they're all ladies singing to the camera with the song playing in the background, because, seeing their faces is critical to understanding their point. But this one says, "Get this trad wife propaganda away from me right now." So got another one. No, this song is complete racist propaganda. Also, a whole block of Travis's Travi is very frightening to me. Yes, it's racist if you're a white person to want children that look like you. I mean, that's just mainstream, left-wing rhetoric at this point. If you want your kids to resemble you, you are a racist if you're white. Okay, so this girl says her wish list sounds like a death sentence. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm sure it does to a lot of young women because they've been told, pretty much since childhood, hey, if you get married and have kids, that's the end of your life. It's over. There's this dichotomy between, on the one hand, finding yourself and traveling and being a whole person, and on the other hand, being a mom, and that getting married and having kids totally impedes your development when, in fact, it couldn't be more of the opposite. Having children is a pretty important developmental milestone for the vast majority of people. Unless you're Mozart, your children might be your, greatest contribution to this planet while you're here. So let's let's watch some more of the like analysis style videos and hear these ladies give their thoughts. She's gonna tell us about Taylor Swift and the rise of conservatism.
Okay, I lied. I actually do have one more thing to say because I went on a run and that's where I do all of my best thinking. People are going to tell me it's not that deep, but I actually do think it is that deep. The more that I listen to this album and specifically the song Wish List, I honestly think it's quite sinister and it scares me. The reason why is because this is exactly how people enter the alt-right pipeline is they find somebody who is this figure that seems kind of like palatable to them or relatable to them, like Taylor Swift, and slowly this person starts sharing right-wing messaging like, I don't care about my career, I just want to have a house and kids with a white picket fence. And people hear that and slowly but surely they become more and more indoctrinated into conservatism. It's the same way that like a lot of mommy bloggers or people that follow mommy bloggers start to go down like the Maha pipeline or like join QAnon. Yeah, that's a bit worrying to me coming from somebody who claims to be a feminist.
Okay, so what she's saying here is that if young people, if young women in particular, are exposed to a famous lady saying normal things, saying, I want to have a house and I want to have kids. And I don't even know if Taylor Swift said this, but like, you know, it's sort of a natural sentiment to say, hey, I want to focus on my kids more than my career, at least for some period of time when the children are very young, need their mother. If young women hear these things, they're going to want these things. Okay, so that's why the left is not, you know, overly interested in talking with people on the right or in allowing them to broadcast their beliefs, because they're scared that if people hear normal things, if people are not, you know, subjected to this relentless propaganda campaign, then they're going to want normal things. And that's honestly a pretty good hypothesis because you have to propagandize people pretty relentlessly and from a very young age to get them to adopt some of these really kooky beliefs, right? Like we just watched last week, we saw how Netflix is putting all of this, you know, transgender messaging, all of this LGBTQ messaging in their kids' shows. And that's because if you don't normalize these things from a very young age, again, for little kids, then they come off as weird when you're introduced to them as an adult, you know, which they are. All right, one more for somebody warning about Taylor Swift's new album being red pill propaganda.
Is Taylor Swift using her music to red pill you? In short, yes. This is trad wife, red pill, MAGA softcore being served to us in a pop album. I know a lot of people are analyzing the lyrics and they think the lyrics are terrible, but actually the lyrics are quite questionable. There are some thinly veiled racist lyrics on this album. There are some very misogynistic takes on this album. And the entire song Canceled is basically what happens when conservatives think that someone on their side is being canceled. And I can't help but call back to that scene in Miss Americana where Taylor is basically fighting against her own team to be able to speak out on what she believes is right at the time, which is LGBTQ rights, which is standing up for women, which is showing her support for the Democratic Party. And to me, this moment lends itself more to being part of the life of a showgirl than anything else this album gave us, because all that was a performance. And this isn't shocking to me. This isn't disappointing to me because I don't know Taylor Swift and I generally don't trust white celebrities. What this is her using her 20-year relationship with her diehard fans to normalize very dangerous rhetoric. The conversation online has already spun into a place where diehard Swifties wanting to defend this album are saying, why can't everyone just have fun? What's wrong with fun? If y'all aren't careful, y'all are going to, why can't we have fun our way into fascism? Oh wait, we're kinda already there. What is fun about having an entire song dedicated to justifying why you hang out with racists? So if you find yourself trying to justify this album under the guise of it just being fun, understand that your apathy is helping to normalize things that eventually lead to people's rights being stripped away, and eventually leads to you being apathetic to genocide, being apathetic.
Okay. I think we're done listening to Pablo the Non. By the way, yeah, Taylor Swift has been putting out music for probably around 20 years, so if you were a fan in the early days and you're about her age, I mean, you've already made kind of the life decisions that this person is worried that you might make, right? Like, if you're a woman in your mid or late 30s, the clock's already, the clock is ticking when whether or not you are going to be able to have children. So I don't see this album as like, really having this great impact on that cohort of women that are like 35 already. Although maybe it will. Maybe it'll spur them to marry their long-term boyfriends and have a kid before it's too late, and that would be a good thing. I don't even know what to say because it's so ridiculous, but it's also sort of justified because Taylor Swift, had this early career as kind of just this dreamy teen pop singer, and she's going to sing about love and boyfriends, and it's all going to be like, if not fairly friendly, some out of like a teen soap opera. And then she pivoted sort of, I guess, in the 2020s, because she'd been fielding accusations of being white for a very long time. She pivoted to be this pop star that was all about gay rights and Kamala Harris and being childless. And so obviously she was seeking the approval of her fans and trying to shepherd them down that path. Although more than anything, I think it was about approval. I mean, she's a famous person. She's a celebrity. These people are desperate for people to love them. And now she's ostensibly in love and is going to get married, and she kind of wants to show that off. And obviously, the audience that she's courted in these last, 5 or 4 years, or however long it's been since she really pivoted hard, obviously they're hostile to that, right? They want her to be single forever because it makes them feel better about their life choices. Like, I remember these videos of women just sobbing at the camera, sometimes in their cars, which is always a funny genre to me, but just sobbing when Taylor Swift announced her engagement. And first of all, the question is, why do you care so much? And that's not a rhetorical question. The answer to that really is they care because they felt that Taylor Swift had promised them, this vision of success and happiness, being all alone and not having kids. And Taylor Swift has now admitted there's like a line on this album which says, when I said I didn't believe in marriage, that was a lie. She's admitted that, yes, that was a lie, that was a cope. Now she's backtracking and people are kind of understandably upset. Anyway, if I have any takeaways from this, Taylor Swift will be fine. Good for her for getting married. A lot of these people are still young enough to turn things around too, so this is the red pill that they need is a pop singer, making allusions to living in suburbia. Then I guess that's the red pill that they need. So good for Taylor Swift, I guess. I guess this is a pro Taylor Swift video. But let me know your thoughts on the song, on the album, in the comments section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.